The series name is What If Naruto and Galatic is Saviour of Gala, why? So let's start the series. It was a good day in Konoha today. Everyone was happy. You see, today was the 10th of October. This day was important because on this very day 5 years ago, the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze, fought a great beast known as the Kyuubi or nine-tailed foe. This beast was known to crush mountains and cause earthquakes with a swing of a tail. Minato knew he couldn't defeat the Kyuubi, so he did the only thing that he knew would work. His only regret was that he wouldn't be able to help his son grow, and neither would his wife, Kushina Uzumaki, as she was killed by the man who tracked the Kyuubi from her in the first place. So Minato sealed the great beast into his son. His last wish to Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage, was that his son, Naruto, was to be treated like a hero. When we look at Naruto's life, we see that the Yondaime's wish was ignored by the villagers. All they could see was the boy as the demon itself. He suffered a lot through life, and now he is 5 years old. Now our story begins. But why do I have to leave? I've done nothing wrong, stated a little blonde boy around 7. He was standing in front of a large building that said it was an orphanage. You know why you aren't allowed here anymore, you brat. Now leave before I force you out. The caretaker of the orphanage said as she began to slam the door on the little boy. This little boy was Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed foe. Although he didn't know that, he thought he was an orphan whose parents died when the Kyuubi attacked and nothing more. He saw that there was going to be a problem if he didn't leave, and he knew that he wasn't safe, especially today since it was his birthday. None of the villagers liked Naruto and took every chance they could to make his life hell. Luckily the Hokage's mansion was nearby and Naruto was quiet, so he got there easily. When he got there, he snuck past the secretary who tried to stop Naruto every time he visited. Naruto-kun, is there something I can do for you? Hiruzen said, looking up at hearing his door open. I guess you could say that. The orphanage kicked me out today. I know it's early, so the villagers didn't really look for me on the way here. I was hoping I could stay here for today, Naruto said. What? I'm going to have talk with the caretaker later, but for now yes, you can stay, he said in a caring tone. Thanks, Gigi, Naruto said as he went to the couch to sleep some. Naruto-kun, wake up, was what Naruto heard when he woke up. What's going on, Gigi? Naruto asked, confused and tired. Naruto, listen, I want you to hide in here for a while. There's something happening outside that I don't want you to see, alright? Hiruzen said as he opened a hidden safe behind his desk. Okay, but please be careful with whatever it is, okay, please. Of course. As soon as the safe closed, the Sandaime put his hand on a seal on top of his desk and channeled some chakra into it. For a second, nothing happened, then the village was engulfed in a bright white light, as were all the other villages. When the light faded, all the ninja and civilians were gone, except for Naruto, who was still in the safe. At the same time, are you getting the same readings as I am? A man asked. The man wasn't actually a man, it was an alien. He had 4 eyes and blue skin. His head was elongated. He wore battle armor that was red and looked like it was put together piece by piece. Yes, I am. Are we going to see what it is? Another one of these aliens, known as a Prothean, said. We better. It is coming from one of the human worlds that are more advanced than their cave-dwelling cousins, the first one said. Why would the Reapers attack one of their worlds? We better find out. Maybe they advance faster than we thought. With that, the Prothean ship left to check on one of the worlds that they swore to protect against the Reapers so they could help fight in the NET cycle. On Naruto's world, Naruto had no idea how long he was in that safe. All he knew that he was scared and hungry. When he couldn't take it anymore, he opened the door and he was shocked. The office was a wreck. The village looked as if it was attacked. But that wasn't what scared him. It was the silence. There was not a sound. No birds, no laughter, and no yelling, even just nothing. He heard cracking and looked up just in time to see the ceiling fall on him, thus knocking him unconscious. With the Protheans, I'm detecting only one life sign from that village there. Right, what are we going to do once we find it? We see what he knows. Of course, they land their ship just inside of Konoha. As they walk, they have their guns at the ready for any attack by the Reapers. At the back of the village was the biggest building from what they could see, and it was one of the few that was still standing, so they headed towards it. This is far too quiet. Be ready for anything, the first Prothean said as he got ready to open the door after sighing at how primitive it was. When they went into the room, they found the source of the vital signs. It was a little boy about 5 years with bright blonde hair. He was extremely thin and his clothes were basically rags. He was also unconscious. It looks as though he was well hidden to be safe from the Reapers. Yes, let's bring him with us. He could provide evidence to why the Reapers attacked. We will have to move soon. It seems that this planet isn't very big and most of the people here were in large groups, thus making it easier for the Reapers to find them. The Protheans took Naruto back to their shuttle and went back to their ship and left the atmosphere. Little did anyone know that the citizens of the elemental countries had survived, but were transported to the space between spaces by the Yondaime, who foresaw this happening when Kyuubi told his wife about the Reapers. Those that were there could potentially live forever, continuously getting stronger and more advanced, waiting for the day they would be called to defend the Gala. Why and have their revenge. Later, Naruto woke up to weird sounds. He tried to get up but his head was too sore, so he just plopped back on the bed. What hit me? Naruto asked no one in particular. You are awake, good. Now then, I was hoping you could tell us what happened on your planet, one of the Protheans asked. Huh? What are you? Naruto asked in slight fear. Sigh. I forgot they don't have translators here, the second one said, handing Naruto an earpiece that was a translator. While motioning for him to put it in his ear, Naruto did so and felt a strange feeling in his head but ignored it. Now then, can you understand me now, human? The first Prothean asked. Why yes, please don't hurt me, Naruto said, not even caring that he could understand them now due to the fact that he was still terrified. It's alright, we won't, I promise. The second said, we were hoping you could tell us what happened to your planet. I don't know, I was hiding in a safe area and when I came out everything was destroyed. Naruto said a little too loudly, still shaking in fear of the aliens. Can you tell me anything about your home? Why someone might attack it or anything, the second Prothean said using a more calming voice. I don't know. Naruto still didn't trust the aliens, but the manner the second one spoke was enough for Naruto to stop trembling. A pity. Now then, what are we to do with you? We can't just dump you onto Earth, as you are used to a more advanced way of life. Maybe we could train you. The first asked mostly to himself. That is an interesting thought, but we wouldn't be able to, unfortunately. We would need to send him ground-side. Hang on, I'm getting a message from the Emperor and Empress. Patching it through, the second said. Suddenly two figures appeared. N.E.T. to Naruto. Report, the one on the right said. Yes, sir. At 0800 hours this morning we detected a massive Ezero burst followed by an attack on a developing human world. We found one survivor. Understood. Bring him to the Endeavor and await further instructions. We will train him. Yes, sir. After that the two figures looking at Naruto disappeared. Probably for the best. Okay, human, what is your name? The first said. Naruto Uzumaki. What about you two? I am known as Riken, the first one said. I am Agli, the second said. Now can you go in the other room for a while? We will let you know what is going on as soon as we get closer to our destination. All will be plain, but I can see you're tired. Go lie down, Riken said. All right, was all said Naruto as he headed into the other room. But along his way he heard a voice whisper, they aren't dead, kid, just waiting. This child, did you get the readings on his Element 0 rating? They were off the charts, Riken said in surprise. Yes, that planet must have had vast amounts of it in the planet, just as, if not more than the Asari home world, Agli said. Well, we don't want to keep the Emperor and Empress waiting. Computer, set a course for the Adelphos system. And with that, the ship turned and went into hyperspace, leaving Naruto's home behind. It didn't take long for the ship to reach the Adelphos system. Naruto found out after reading some data pads that it was the heart of the Prothean Empire after the fall of something called the Citadel. According to the news feeds, worlds were falling at an astonishing rate, billions dead, and the Prothean home world was in ruins. Several battles were occurring everywhere across the Gala. Why? And all major fleets were regrouping. The Empire was losing ground. The Emperor had ordered the construction of some kind of super weapon to be constructed in Krathai's system, but that was classified as top secret. The blonde found out by breaking into Riken's computer when he was on the bridge. Well, more like Riken had just left his computer open, but no one needed to know that. Anyway, Naruto was quickly familiarizing himself with ship systems. He was evidently really good at using weapons. Anything from sniper rifles to pistols seemed to be the perfect fit for the blonde. His natural biotic ability was interesting as well, and seemed to be capable of even bending time to his will, but only briefly. The Adelphos system was packed with war ships. There were at least 500 ships, but from what data feeds told him, it used to be much larger. There were a few inhabited planets. But the royal family and the council of elders were housed on a ship known as the Endeavour, which was the largest and most powerful ship remaining in the Prothean fleet. Landing procedure in process. Please stand by, the computer said as they began docking with the Endeavour. This is Traffic Manager Pollitt. Please state your business aboard the Endeavour. This is Captain Riken of the Kirin, requesting permission to dock for meeting with the council and imperial family. We also have a VIP on board from a recent Reaper attack on a human world. Roger that, permission to dock granted. Welcome to Endeavour Kirin. A pair of visible docking bays opened directly in front of the ship. From the ship's main window, it seemed like there were ants running across the dock, or at least to Naruto. As the ship came into port, a few docking arms came and magnetically attached themselves to the ship, causing a fallible shudder from the ship. A walkway tended from the dock and attached itself to the airlock. Landing procedure completed. Awaiting further commands, the computer said. Come on, Naruto, we're going to meet the council, Agli said. All right, he responded with enthusiasm. After stepping into a strange room that equalized pressure, Naruto stepped onto the platform of the Endeavor's docking bay for the first time and looked around. The first thing he saw was the ship. The ship was an Intrepid Class 2 stealth ship, made to go in and out of a system without making a sound and to be extremely fast. It was armed with 2 P-class atomic missiles and a Enon laser bank. It was painted black with the symbol for the Prothean Empire ingrained on the hull. All in all, it was a beauty to behold. Come on, Naruto, don't want to keep the elders waiting, Riken said as he grabbed Naruto's hand and dragged him along. It was a humorous sight to many, as it looked like a parent dragging his child away for a scolding. After taking the elevator up a few levels from the docks, they came upon a floor dedicated to the council. In front of them was a pair of massive doors with the Prothean seal acting as the handles. It was guarded by 2 heavily armed Protheans. The council is expecting you, one said. Best not keep them waiting, the other said before he pulled up a keyboard on his Omni tool and typed something in. As soon as he closed the keyboard, the doors opened, leading to a large, open room with a fountain in the center. On the far side of the room there was a large table in a U-shape, with a podium in the middle of the floor. 2 seats were raised in the middle of the U, as if to look out over the entire room. All the other seats were occupied, and everyone was looking at Naruto. When they reached the center of the room, the announcer stood and said, All hail the Emperor and Empress, Lady Kara and Lord Hakiv. Everyone who was sitting stood and everyone bowed toward the raised seats. Naruto just stood there looking rather awkward. 2 regal-looking figures entered the room from the back. It was obvious that both were stressed, as their clothes were somewhat disheveled. Even so, both of them had an aura of power. Everyone as you were, the Emperor declared. Except for you, kid, it seems that you can just stay as you are, he said as the Empress giggled. All of the council looked at Naruto with shock at the blatant disrespect. Why didn't you bow? An elder asked. Calm down, Jake. The boy probably doesn't know any better, the Empress said. Now then, I convene this council to decide the fate of the human child Naruto. I think that he should be put into another human planet's population, Jake said. Oh, and how would that work? His species was extremely advanced and he's already seen our technology. No, the decision has already been made. The council was only called to discuss the details. And what is that actually, Emperor Hakiv? How is he going to be trained? Naruto was extremely confused about what was going on, and got extremely irritated. Hey, does someone mind telling me what's going on? He asked. Well, we're deciding who's going to take care of you, the Empress said. So I'm getting a parent? The blonde asked excitedly. In a manner of speaking, yes, the Emperor said. Yada! The blonde yelled. How did the translator not pick up on that? The Emperor asked. Everyone just looked at the blonde and shrugged before Jake said, well, he needs to be a part of a family in order to be trained in the military before the age of 15, and they need to have that family's permission for training. Well, in that case, we'll just have to adopt him, the Empress said happily. Everyone except for the Emperor looked shocked at this. My lady, you can't be serious about this, an elder said. She is, the Emperor said in authoritative voice. And so am I. Everyone looked surprised at this. The announcer said, Are you sure, Lord Hakiv? The Emperor nodded before the announcer stood again and said, All hail Naruto, adopted son of the Emperor and Empress, and heir to the Prothean Empire. Everyone in the room bowed toward Naruto, and the Emperor said, This meeting is adjourned. Everyone except for Naruto, the royal family, and Riken and Agli left the room. Riken turned toward the blonde that he rescued and said, Well, Prince Naruto, it was an honor to meet you. Same to you, Riken, though I really don't think I'm ever going to get used to the prince title, especially from you. Heh, well, I think that I'll just call you Naruto, alright, Squirt Agley said. Yeah, that'll work. Well, I guess I've got to go meet Mom and Dad. See ya guys later. And with that he ran off to join his new adoptive family, who welcomed him with open arms. As they eyed the room, Riken looked at Algi and said, that kid is going to go far, maybe even farther than anyone ever has. Yeah, and at least we can say that we knew him. And with that said they left Naruto to begin his new life. It had been about 2 years since Naruto had left his home planet and been adopted by the Prothean royal family. He had quickly become used to his new family. His father, Emperor Hakiv, was a kind and gentle man around his family, but was cold and hard when it came to the war and battle. It was obvious that he longed for the days before the war. He lost everything except for his wife, including his own 5-year-old son. It was because of that though that he was so warm to Naruto. In fact, until he adopted Naruto, the royal scribes were considering making his name the Emotionless King because he never smiled in his reign, but Naruto changed that. The same could be said for the Empress. She came from a peasant family back on the Prothean home world. She met Emperor Hakiv when he was a prince touring the planet. The two had hit it off wonderfully. But Hakiv couldn't marry someone not of royal descent and be crown prince. So he passed the duty to his brother. The two lived together happily for 7 years before the invasion. But when it began, the royal family was the first to fall, including their son who was visiting his uncle the emperor at the time. She was called the Morning Queen until she adopted Naruto. After that she became warmer and smiled whenever she could. It was quickly noticed that Naruto had that kind of effect on people, so they kept him from training for a year after they adopted him. He managed to turn most of the Grand Navy, and the Prothean military commanders to his side, and quickly gained the approval of both the Council of Elders and the general populace. This was due to the fact that everyone tried to spoil him, but he only took what he actually wanted or needed and gave the rest to charities, the most prominent being the War Orphans Charity. This was quickly spread through the news feeds, and Naruto quickly gained the nickname the White Prince for his charity and his evident aptitude for turning people to his side. Many turned him into the protector of the future, and most parents told their children that they should be more like him. Naruto didn't know about this though. He was only 7 after all. He'd even managed to turn the hard ass on the council, Lord Jake, into someone like who he was before the war. A somewhat kind man with hell of a pranking streak. He'd even managed to get him and his son, Javik, on a pranking contest. It was still ongoing. They'd learned a lot about him too. The first thing they discovered was his love of the color orange. So, for his 6th birthday, his parents gave him a suit of orange royal battle armor, which could be adjusted to his height and size. They also discovered his love of ramen after he tried something similar at dinner one night. They'd had to start a small budget for the stuff, and they royals had actually come to like it as well. They also discovered he was a bit of a gardener. He'd started growing a tree and trimmed it every so often to make it look nice. He said that his people called it bonsai, and there was now a small club that learned the art from Naruto, and had begun practicing it en masse. After a year of being taught politics by his mother and father, winning over almost everyone, and pranking almost everyone on board the Endeavor, he began being taught by his new combat instructor, General Ik. He still remembered the first day of training like it was yesterday. Flashback, 1 year ago. Hey Mom, what are we doing today? Am I learning more about politics from you or strategy from Dad? Or maybe I can go prank Javik? I still have to get back at him for the black teeth tea he gave me. Kara laughed and said, No Naruto, today we begin your combat training. Cool. Who's my teacher going to be? Is Javik going to be with me? Can I get new guns and a new sword? No Naruto, you can get new weapons after a year of training, and Javik is getting lessons from his father. Your teacher is going to be General Ik. Naruto visibly paled at that. He was known for running his soldiers into the ground and then some. He had lost the majority of his command when his fleet was destroyed in the battle above Os Prime. So now he just spent his days wandering around the Endeavor or drinking in bars. The only thing he had left was his daughter Arna, who he cared for like nothing else mattered. Is something wrong, honey? All of a sudden you look kind of sick. Naruto shook slightly and said, I'm fine, Mom. But why General Ik? He's a sadist. We know, honey. But he's the only one that would be able to train you like you are now. We would have given you to a royal guard or something for training. But you've already learned everything they have to teach you. Did you really think that your father and I wouldn't find out about you getting lessons from them for the past year? She said with a small glare. The blonde just blushed and scratched the back of his head nervously and said, well, I just kinda figured that it'd be a good idea to be prepared, so I asked them to teach me. Please don't ground me. The Empress chuckled and said with the best evil smirk she could manage, well, I don't think it will be necessary after today. Naruto winced at that and then tried to run, but was caught by the scruff of his neck and dragged behind his mother. They arrived at the doors of one of the many training rooms that the Endeavor held, though this was one of the ones that had environmental simulation. Outside the door stood General Ik, wearing his black battle armor, engraved with the Prothean seal. He was an imposing figure, standing at just over feet, with very little fat to his body. He had 4 green eyes, and 4 black marks that ran from them to his chin. He had a beam rifle slung over his right shoulder and a jug of vernicol, /N Prothean alcohol, in his left hand. When he saw the Empress, he dropped the jug, which shattered, and saluted. Ik, did you forget that you were starting to train my son today? No, ma'am. Then why we're drinking? Ik turned blue, /N Prothean blushing, and said sorry ma'am, won't happen again ma'am. I should hope not. I'll be back at 1800 hours to pick him up. Then turning to Naruto she said, be good honey, and don't forget that Ik isn't target practice. I won't mom. Well, I should go get started, see you later. Kara smiled at her son and turned toward Ik and gave him a glare, and then she left. Seeing this, Ik motioned for the boy to follow him into the room, which he did. Inside, it looked like a grassy plain with 2 or 3 trees dotted on some hills. The sun was shining and there were some birds chirping. In all it looked like the kind of place you would go for a picnic, not for training. Underneath one of the trees was a small table, which looked like it had all forms of weapons on it. Naruto couldn't see what it held very clearly from where he was though, so he just turned his attention back to Ik, who was now standing still. Right then, young one, I guess I'm going to be your combat instructor. I don't want to get to know anything about you, you're already famous enough, and you probably already know about me. Seeing as you're a part of the royal family, your goal for today is to hit me at least once with all 5 of the weapons on the table up there, or to hit me 5 times with one of the weapons. They're set to shock mode, and each has a distinctive energy signature that will be encoded into my personal shield. You have an hour to complete the exercise. If you can do more than what you are assigned, then I will give you harder training and buy you ramen after the session, alright? Naruto nodded excitedly and prepared to dash to the table, but waited for Ika's order to start. Ik pulled up a stopwatch on his Omni tool and pressed a few buttons before yelling go. Naruto sprinted to the table and grabbed all the weapons. Holstering everything but the sniper rifle, he knelt down and looked through the scope, changing the vision to thermal. It didn't take long for him to find Ik. He was resting by a small pond on a beach chair. That pissed Naruto off. He was about to take the shot, but decided not to in favor of pranking him. Half an hour later, the trap was set. He'd layered a small valley between 2 hills with his guns and set them to automatic detection and thermal mode. He'd also made some impromptu grenades out of some thermal cells. The only thing he had left was his sniper rifle and 2 thermal clips. Ika's thermal signal was showing that he was falling asleep, so Naruto knelt down and took the shot. Ik wasn't too concerned about his charge. He figured that the blonde had a long way to go until he could even fire a gun. What he didn't know was that he'd been receiving training from the Royal Guard for the past year. Naturally, he was surprised when he was shot out of his chair and into the pond. Shock was quickly replaced by anger though, as he was just about to fall asleep. As he got up, he eyed the blonde sitting on top of a hill laughing. That was the last straw. He grabbed his own shock rifle and began running toward the blonde. Naruto noticed this and put his plan into action. He just knelt down and took another shot, this time hitting Ik in the head. The recoil was a bit much, but Naruto's armor had shock absorbers so that it just felt like a slight push. That stopped Ik for a minute, but he got over his bewilderment quickly and started running again. After about 5 more of these shots repeated, Ik finally made it to a small valley with cover from the blonde. He smirked and checked his watch. Only 5 minutes left, he thought. That's when all hell broke loose. Naruto appeared at the top of the hill and trained his gun on to Ik. Ik was still looking at his watch, and didn't notice. Naruto pulled the trigger and missed. Intentionally, he hit his thermal grenade, which went off and sent Ik flying into the other one, which then promptly plotted, sending him back in the middle of the valley. Naruto smirked at that, and then pressed a button on his Omni tool, causing all of the other weapons to train on Ik. Ik was dazed by what just happened. He didn't give Naruto any grenades, so how did he do that? Ik thought about the idea that the kid had created his own from thermal clips. But that was commander-level stuff, not something that a SI-year-old should be able to do. He got up slowly, only be knocked back down by a shotgun blast. He couldn't get back up for the NET 5 minutes, due to the fact that he was being shot at a near constant rate by a combination of shotgun, pistol, rifle, and submachine gun fire. When the gun stopped firing, his alarm went off, telling both him and Naruto that the training session was over. Naruto smirked and holstered his rifle, and began running toward the downed general. Ik was pissed, but impressed. He hadn't expected that Naruto would be at commando level at age SI, and he much less expected to fall into a trap. He checked his shield and saw that he'd been hit 10 times by the shotgun, 20 times by the pistol, 30 by the assault rifle, 50 by the submachine gun, and 7 by the sniper, as well as 2 times by an unknown source, which he figured to be the grenades. Naruto skidded to a halt in front of the general and said with a smirk, "So do I pass?" And flashback. Ik and Naruto became fast friends after that. He recommended that Naruto become a rank soldier as soon as possible, which was happening today. Galatic had been recommended for promotion as well, and both were about to undertake the avatar ceremony. Both of them would be staying on board the Endeavor until age 12 though, as most people believe that even in war, children should have at least some sort of childhood. So, right now Naruto was getting dressed in his formal combat robes. These robes are what he would wear for the rest of his life in the army under his armor. And seriously, look at a picture of Galatic. It looks like he's wearing a robe under his armor. He would be allowed to take them off when he retired from the military, or when he slept, but at all other times he would have to keep them on. His robe was simple. It was white with orange stripes along the arms, and a black line down the center. He had metal plating along the inside of the robe to provide protection, as well as some insulation patches for temperature control. He had a star with an orb at each point showing he was the heir to the royal family on his right sleeve, and on his shoulders he had a holographic imaging device to show his rank. Once he finished dressing, he grabbed his memory shard and walked down the hall. He got some bows and nods as he made his way to the council room, and waved at all those that did as was his custom. Finally, he reached council room and greeted the 2 guards stationed outside before making his way in. Galatic was already there and was talking to Arna, who was conversing back about what rank they were getting. The rank symbol wouldn't be shown until the end of the ceremony, so it was more like 20 questions to guess the rank. Arna and Galatic had met through Naruto a few months back. They were both helping Naruto prank the council, which had been getting even more upset than usual. So Naruto figured a good prank would lighten some spirits. They'd hit it off spectacularly. She was always energetic and the first to do something, while Galatic was more calm and collected, and tried to think things through. Naruto could tell that there was something developing between them, even though they were 7. The council nodded and bowed as Naruto entered the room, and the announcer was about to shout his arrival before he was interrupted by the blonde. "Please don't," Naruto asked. "You all know I hate that crap. If you want to announce something, announce my parents, but not me." The council smiled at that and the announcer sat back down, prompting everyone else to do so. Naruto walked over to his friends, who gave him a mock bow before he slapped both on the back of the head playfully. "Knock it off, guys. You know I hate that stuff." "Yeah, but you're just a fun to tease," Arla said. Arla was wearing a black robe with white stripes along the arms and legs. She had her father's color of eyes and 2 purple stripes that ran across her forehead. She was about the same height as Naruto, a whopping 3 feet 7, and was the most rambunctious of the trio, something that Naruto could claim he once was before he started taking etiquette classes from his mother, who beat the rambunctiousness out of him by saying, "If you don't calm down some, no more ramen." Needless to say, he became calmer after that. "So Naruto, what rank are you getting?" Galatic asked. Naruto sighed and said, "You know I can't tell you that. Besides, I want to see your faces when you hear my rank." "Oh, this I've got to know, give me details," Arla said. Luckily, before she could start interrogating him, the council stood again and the announcer called, "All hail Lord Hakiv and Lady Kara, Emperor and Empress of the Prothean Empire." Everyone except for Naruto bowed, and only Lady Kara entered the room and sat down, which surprised most members of the council. Lady Kara, do you know where Lord Hakiv is? Jake asked. She just smiled and looked at Naruto, who was holding up 3 fingers, which she mimicked. They then started counting as 1, 3, 2, 1. Suddenly a big cloud of smoke appeared with some fireworks, and a voice spoke presenting the most magnificent, awesome, and powerful Emperor Hakiv. The smoke cleared and there stood the Emperor, posing on his table with his thumb in the air. So how was that? He asked. I'll give it a solid 7, Kara said while giggling. Meh, I'd give it a 6, Dad. The council and Javik and Arla just sweat dropped at their leader's antics as Hakiv started crying anime-style tears asking why? Someone else must believe in the power of the awesome entrance. Somewhere in a parallel pocket universe a white-haired sage sneezed and yelled, I believe, brother. Rise up. Keep fighting the good fight for the awesome entrance. After everyone had calmed down from the surprising entrance, the Emperor began the ceremony. We are gathered here today to allow those who stand before this council to join the Grand Navy's ranks, and give them their avatar status, as well as to give them all the benefits and warrants of being in command. Before we begin, are there any who would deny that these who stand before us should enter the military, or that they are given all the benefits given by their post? The council collectively shook their heads no, so the Emperor proceeded. Very well then, would Arla, daughter, aka, sit on the meditation mat to allow us to find the avatar? Arla did as she was asked, and the entire council entered a meditative state. After a few minutes, all of them opened their eyes simultaneously and said, Arla, you are the avatar of courage and dedication. Your rank is Ensign. Congratulations, Ensign Arla. You will now undergo training befitting of your rank for the NET 5 years. Please step back. Javik, son of Jake, please step forward and sit on the meditation mat. Javik congratulated Arla as they passed each other, and she stood in front of Naruto, who slapped her on the back with a smile. Javik closed his eyes and the council did the same. After a few minutes, they all opened their eyes and the council said as one, Javik, there is much darkness in your heart, but that darkness has been overshadowed by the light of friendship. This causes you to be protective of your friends, and you wouldn't do anything to see them harmed. To that end, you are the avatar of protection. Your rank is Lieutenant. Congratulations, Lieutenant Javik. You will now undergo training based on your rank for the NET 5 years. Please step back. Naruto, son of Unknown, adopted son of the Emperor Hakiv and Empress Kara, Prince of the Prothean Empire, and heir to the throne, please step forward and sit on the meditation mat. Naruto gulped and began walking forward, well, more like he was pushed by Arla, but still, as he passed Javik he gave him a mock salute and shook his hand, before Naruto continued to and sat down on the mat. He closed his eyes and waited for council to make their decision. Suddenly he started feeling something like water falling on his forehead. Opening his eyes, he found himself standing in a sewer or a pipeline. He saw a red glow from a pathway up ahead, and felt drawn to it. So, he went toward the source of the light, and found it only to lead to another hallway. So he followed it to its source, which looked like a giant version of the council room, except without the giant table and chairs. Instead, there was a rather large cage, which was big enough to contain at least 2 small starships. Come closer, Kit, I'm not going to hurt you, said a voice from behind the bars. Naruto approached to see a young human woman standing in the cage. She had long hair and glowing red eyes, as well as 9 tails wagging behind her. Cool. You're a human. What's your name? She chuckled softly and said, Sorry, Naruto, but I'm not human. I'm what your people call the tailed beast, or a demon. In truth, I am a member of a species long past that helped to create the Reapers. My name is too long and ancient for me to remember, so I usually just go by Kyubi no Yoko or just Q. Naruto got a little angry at finding out about the Reaper part, but he was still more curious than anything, so he decided to ask questions. So Q, 3 questions. 1. Where are we? 2. Why were my people destroyed by your creation? And the third depends on your answer to the second one. Q smiled and said, Well, we're in your mindscape. This is where all your thoughts are as well as your feelings. As for the Reapers, me and my race helped the race known as the Leviathans to create them. They were originally supposed to be a peacekeeping force, but their AI programming malfunctioned, changing it into the kill everything Reaper you know today. They quickly terminated the Leviathans and many of my kind, though we still exist and are scattered across the gala. Why? Mistaken as energy clouds and the like. As for why they attacked you, We were preparing your race to destroy the Reapers and bring peace to the Gala. Why? But they found out somehow, luckily enough. Your father planned ahead and created a pocket universe that has the same properties as this one. As soon as the Reapers entered orbit, the seal activated and transferred everyone in the elemental nations to that pocket universe. Naruto was beyond shocked. Not only were the Reapers supposed to be peacekeepers, but Karan knew his father. That took over every other thing that he was thinking about. Who was my dad? Did you know my mother? He asked excitedly. Your father was Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage of the village hidden in the leaves. He was known as the Yellow Flash, and was a war hero. He was a kind of gentleman, and was merciful to his enemies. He isn't that different from your adoptive father in that respect. I think he'd like to meet you as soon as possible. And yes, even though he's dead you can still meet him. He sealed a part of himself along with me inside of you to act as a guide for the future. Your mother was Kushina Uzumaki. She was a stubborn, energetic prankster like you. She was my container before you. She and your father loved you like no other. She was great with the sword. So how can I meet my father? Do you see the seal? I want you to tear a piece of it off. Your father should appear as a result. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Naruto didn't fully trust her, but decided to try it out. He ripped off the right corner of the seal, and a bright flash flooded the room. When the light faded, a man stood with blonde hair and blue eyes. He was wearing a cloak that had flames licking the bottom, and the kanjis for fourth Hokage on the back. He was holding a three-pronged kunai. Aside from that, he looked rather shocked to be there. Naruto? What am I doing here, Dad? And he gave him a running hug. Minato just started laughing and said, Hey kiddo, it's good to see you too. But what am I doing here? Naruto then took a serious look and said, The Reapers attacked 3 years ago, and you transferred everyone to the seal. Did I now? Well, it's good to see that my plan worked. Your mother and I faked out deaths and were transferred to the pocket dimension. We had to leave someone behind to release us if the worst happened, so we chose you. Sorry for leaving you. It's okay, Dad. But does that mean I'll get to know you after I release you from the pocket dimension or whatever? Yeah, you'll be able to meet both me and your mother. We created that seal so that anyone inside it would be immortal until you released the seal. I'll teach you how to do that, and both me and Kara will train you in the ways of the shinobi. I'll be in your mindscape until the Reapers are gone. Thanks, Dad, Naruto said with teary eyes. No problem, kiddo. But right now you need to go. The council is opening their eyes now. To get back here, just meditate, and you'll wake up in this room. See ya later. Naruto opened his eyes, saw that he was back in front of the council. Watching the council open their eyes, as with Arla and Javik they opened their eyes and spoke as one. Courage, wisdom, sadness, happiness, love, acceptance, and power. Naruto, you are not an avatar, but a title, a being. You are Saviour. This council was originally going to promote you to commander status. But in light of what we have seen, this council has deemed you worthy of a much higher rank. Congratulations, Vice Admiral Naruto. You will receive training and be given a personal fleet and team, as well as a ship worthy of your station. This meeting is adjourned. There was silence for a few minutes before both Arla and Javik yelled out, What? A 22-year-old blonde man sat on the remains of an old Prothean capital building on Pharos. He had ordered the majority of his fleet into a special facility that would by no means be attacked by the Reapers, along with the now retired Prothean Council and royal family and several civilian groups, located in a system not too far from his homeworld. He first came here 5 years ago for possible locations for Operation Survivor. It was his idea to initiate the operation. First, they would design beacons delegated to various developing species. Based upon their predicted pan-Zion through space, Neti, they build a series of bunkers on uninhabited planets. Unfortunately, all but one had been discovered, but at least the last remaining Prothean fleet would be saved. During the exploration period to find these planets, Naruto met an ancient plant species known as the Thorians. Evidently there were only a few left, but the majority of them were clustered on this planet. The one Naruto met was evidently a female Thorian who called herself Thorian. Naruto called her Planty. Planty and Naruto became friends the first time they met. Now, years later, he asked her for her help. He was going to enter a state of stasis based on meditation and sealing. Naruto stood from his overlook of the ruined Prothean city and began walking to his new sealing chamber, thinking about his life before the war began to get this bad. Flashback. A 12-year-old Naruto straightened his new Vice Admiral's uniform. It was finally graduation day. over the past 5 years, Naruto had been trained in everything from politics to fleet strategy to personal command, and everything in between. He'd also been training with his father and Kara inside his mindscape. Minato told him he was easily at high Chunin level, but had a ways to go until he reached Jonin or Kage level. Today wasn't only his graduation day though. It was also Arla and Javik's graduation day. Naruto put on his holster for his pistol, an advanced pistol that had the accuracy and power of a sniper rifle, but the ability to go full auto. It wasn't regulation to wear a weapon with just the uniform, but Naruto always thought it was best to be prepared. He put on his new admiral's hat, tailored specifically for him. Seeing as how Prothean hats had a different size and shape, Naruto's Omni-tool started vibrating, telling him that it was time to go to the ceremony. He made his way quickly through his room and into the ship corridor. He walked to the council room, where he met Arla and Javik, who were in their uniforms as well. They seemed to be discussing something rather heatedly, and Javik was clearly blushing. Both Javik and Arla were taller than Naruto now, by about 2 inches, of course. It was rather hard for Naruto to get all the nutrients he needed from fish and ramen, which seemed to be the mainstays of a Prothean diet. Well, the fish was, but ramen was Naruto's personal dish. "I get a room, you two," Naruto shouted as he approached. They both blushed hardly and turned to see who it was that had said that. Only to see Naruto, their automatic reaction was to salute with a smile, though Javik was still blushing. Sigh at ease, they both released their salute and smiled. "Good to see you, sir. You guys don't have to call me that, you know." "Yeah, we know, but you're just too much fun to tease," Arla said. "Yeah, and you two just need to admit your feelings for each other." Javik blushed and tried to stammer a reply, but before he could, the doors to the council room opened. "Well, I think that means it's time to go in, shall we?" Naruto said, smiling. Both Arla and Javik recovered quickly and followed Naruto into the council chamber. Everyone, including the Emperor and Empress, was already seated. Naruto stood in the middle, a little in front of Arla and Javik, who were on his left and right. "Admiral Naruto, Lieutenant Javik, Ensign Arla, and today you officially take your posts. Do you all pledge to defend the Prothean Empire from all threat, both foreign and domestic, and to protect the civilians of the Prothean Empire, and to treat those under your command justly and equally?" "We do. Congratulations, you are now ranking members of the Grand Navy. Admiral Naruto, you have been assigned command of the 5th Fleet, and put in charge of the defense of the Endeavor. Your flagship is not the Endeavor, but rather the Ilos, which is a battleship-class vessel. You are authorized to make any improvements to your fleet that is within budget. You have full charge, and as Prince there are no official channels to go through. As for you two, you will be assigned commissions on any designated ship and fleet that puts in a request." Naruto stepped up and said, "Permission for the Ensign and the LT to join my crew on the Ilos?" "Permission granted. Lieutenant Javik and Ensign Arla are hereby assigned to the Ilos. This meeting is adjourned." The council filed out, leaving the 3 friends alone. "Well, let's go see my new ship." 30 minutes and a shuttle ride later, they arrived on the deck of the Ilos. The ship itself was a wreck. It had been recovered after the battle for the Prothean homeworld. The battle was lost, and about half the fleet was destroyed. The Ilos had lost about half of its guns, as well as a majority of the lower levels. The ship itself still maintained a skeleton crew. The bridge was still intact though, as was the command center. Many of the soldiers on board already respected Naruto for his actions in regards to his efforts to relieve those who were hit hardest by the war, but many doubted his ability to command a fleet at his age, much less to take control of a battle. The rest of the 5th Fleet was basically an assembly of weapon-equipped civilian ships and a few fighter squadrons, with only a single fully staffed cruiser. "Great, they gave me a fire-upper. Well, I'll do my best, Ensign. Report down to engineering and send me a report of all currently operating systems. LT, stay with me. We have some work to do." Arla saluted and took an elevator down to engineering. "What do you have planned, Naruto?" Javik asked. Naruto smirked. "I'm going to make this fleet the best damn one in the Grand Navy. And I'll do it in 4 years. 4 years later, the 5th Fleet was regarded as the best equipped and trained force in Prothean space. Naruto had scrapped all the civilian ships and ordered the construction of 5 carriers, 10 cruisers, 18 destroyers, 3 battleships, and a new Devastator-class ship that had twice the armaments of the Endeavor, but was half the size. Naruto decided to name it the Shinobi, after his people's warriors. Naruto also managed to procure 40 additional fighter squadrons and 20 intrepid Mk2 ships, including the Kirin and its crew, which he requested to transfer to his fleet. Needless to say, Riken and Agli were surprised to see him again, but happy to be under his command. He'd managed to do all of this by scrapping all the civilian ships he had in his fleet, and when he ran out of those, he led expeditions to recover derelict ships from some of the older battlefields. He'd gone so far as to personally take down a Reaper that was orbiting an old Prothean space station. He did it by himself, in a fighter with no backup, which earned him the name Reaper Slayer. Every ship under his command was fully staffed and trained for any situation. He began recruiting from refugees and war vets, and trained them all the way he was trained, to be swift, efficient, and deadly. His ships were equipped with the very best weapons and shields available to buy. Several ships were equipped with stealth drives, and many were equipped with missiles capable of penetrating Reaper shields. A now 16-year-old Naruto was looking out at space from his bridge. Even though his fleet was widely claimed to be the best, they had yet to be in open conflict. "Sir, we have an incoming unidentified force on scanners," Arla, who was now serving on the bridge, said in a relaxed tone. Naruto sighed. He still hadn't gotten used to his friends calling him Sir or Admiral. Javik and Arla had finally started dating last year. Much to Naruto's relief, of course. He was beginning to be pressured by his parents to find a girlfriend, but none of the Prothean women he had met seemed to do it for him. Besides, their physiology wasn't compatible. "All right. It's probably nothing, but tell all ships to go to alert level 2, ready positions, and contact the Endeavor and tell it to prepare for an emergency jump." "Aye aye, Admiral," Javik said. "All ships report ready, ETA of unidentified force, 5 minutes and counting." "Understood, keep the comm open and continue scanning." A few minutes passed before Arla yelled, "Commander, one of the ships has been identified. It's the Harbinger." "What? Shit! Contact the Endeavor and tell it to prepare for an immediate jump. And give me the comm." Javik pressed a few buttons on the console in front of him. "The comm is yours, sir. All vessels and personnel, this is Admiral Naruto. The unidentified contact has been identified as a Reaper force under the command of Harbinger. This is a code red emergency. This will also be the first combat experience for many of you. Keep calm and remember your training, and you'll do fine. Our goal today is to buy time for the Endeavor to escape and then get the hell out of here. I want all ships, except for the fighters, to get in position. This is a level 1 alert. All weapons report ready. The Endeavor reports that their time to jump is 10 minutes. Sir, Reaper forces will arrive in 3, 2, 1. 20 Reapers eyed from their jump, and the battle began. By the end of it, only 3 Reapers remained. The Endeavor had retreated to an undisclosed location, and the 5th Fleet had retreated, losing 3 destroyers, a cruiser, and an Intrepid class. Minimal losses, by all accounts. That earned Naruto yet another nickname, the Defender of the Empire. The 5th Fleet continued to make a name for itself in battles across Imperial space. The Empire didn't gain any ground, and was still losing, but more civilians managed to be saved as a result of the fleet's intervention. After a year of fighting, Naruto was promoted to Grand Admiral, putting him in charge of all Prothean fleets. He called a meeting for the royal family, the council, and the remaining fleet admirals and generals in the Kabiv system, at the edge of Prothean space. "Ladies and gentlemen of the council, the army, and the Grand Navy, I have called this meeting to discuss one thing: the future of civilization and the Prothean Empire." A general laughed. "The future is the Prothean Empire, boy, that is all that needs to be said." Naruto's face took a grim look. "If you believe that, then you obviously haven't gone against the Reapers." He turned to face the entire council. "No, unfortunately, the future does not lay with the Empire, but with the undeveloped races. We are losing this war. We know that the Reapers want one thing. Our extinction. We can deprive them of this, and live to fight another day if we follow my plan." "And what is this plan, Naruto?" Hakiv asked. "We have a few things that we need to do. The first is the deployment of beacons that contain information about this cycle, made for the species that have yet to advance. Each one should contain information on the uncompleted superweapon that the other cycles devised. These should be deployed at strategic locations and based upon the idea of how far each individual species will expand based on their predicted development of space travel. In order to sustain our species, we will construct bunkers based on cryogen technology. These bunkers will sustain our people and allow us to survive. The locations will be determined by me and my fleet. The cryo-freeze will deactivate when an AI chooses or manually. The third thing that must happen is the dissolution of the empire, and moving to a republican system. We've been moving toward this system for years, and I believe that the NET cycle will be more democratic. If we cooperate instead of absorb, then we may have a much better chance at defeating the Reapers. You talk as if we've already lost the war. A general shouted. Look out on our map and what do you see? We used to tend to the galactic core. Now we're barely hanging on to our colonies on the outer rim. We have lost the war. Alright then, all in favor of adopting Admiral Naruto's plan? All of the admirals, as well as the council, raised their hands. All opposed? All of the generals raised their hands save the reinstated general, IK, who voted for the plan. The plan passes, and will be codenamed Operation Survivor. This council is hereby dissolved, and all military personnel will now report directly to the admiral. This meeting is adjourned. And so after that, Naruto sent agents to all corners of the gala. Why, he himself went to Ilos, where he met Planty, and to his homeworld, at the insistence of his father and Kara. When he arrived, something odd happened. As soon as he touched down, he was enveloped in a strange energy that pulled him to the ruins of the Land of Iron. When he arrived, there was nothing but the ruins of buildings and ashes. But as he made his way to the center of the area, the energy increased till it ended in a flash, revealing that he was at the center of a giant seal. Channel some chakra into it, his father urged. Alright, but what will happen? You should be transported to the sealed dimension. I believe that you have something to discuss with your parents and the other Kages. Naruto did as he was told, and suddenly found himself in the middle of a circular room with humans sitting in chairs that surrounded it. Each seat had a different marking, but there were 5 seats that were situated closest to the center. These seats were marked with the symbols for the leaf, the cloud, the rock, the sand, and the mist. Naruto wasn't really focused on this though. He was paying more attention to the man in the leaf seat, who had golden blonde hair and blue eyes. Dad! Naruto yelled as he tackled Minato in a man hug. Naruto? Not that I'm not glad to see you, but what are you doing here? Ahem. A red-headed woman N.E.T. to Minato said clearly. Is that you, Mom? Yes, it's me, Sochi, she said as she joined the embrace and began crying. After a few minutes, the council began to get antsy. I'm sorry, but who are you? The man in the sand booth asked. Sorry, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, former prince of the Prothean Empire, and current Grand Admiral of the Grand Navy. What's that? For the NET hour, Naruto explained where he had been and what he had done, as well as what the Reapers were. Well, that plane's what activated the seal. It was designed to teleport everyone here if there was an extraterrestrial threat, and QB helped to design it. You were probably left out because you had my blood. Well, that really isn't important right now. Kara has informed me that anyone that was put in the seal is immortal until the seal is released, though any children that anyone has will die when they reach 1000. In addition, the aging process stops at age 20 for any kids moved into the seal. What I would like you to do is keep developing, and prepare to fight the Reapers. If my guess is right, you should have around 50,000 years to develop your technology and defenses. Seeing as how I'm the only one who can release this seal, I'll be back then. Any future colonies you make will exist in this pocket dimension. If at all possible, I'd like you to stay in this quadrant of the gala. Why? Our predictions indicate that no one will settle this space in the future, meaning it's all yours, A/N. What I mean by this is if you draw 2 bisecting lines in the gala, map, dividing it into 4 pieces, the upper left-hand section, although the area closer to the Piraeus Veil, A/N, Perseus Veil, will probably belong to the Prothean Empire. Did you get all of that? Yeah, we've got it. Don't worry, we'll be ready. But how are you planning on surviving for 50,000 years? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. I would love to stay here longer, and get to know you and Mom. But I can't, I have a species to save. Don't worry though, the NET time we see each other, we can get to know each other, and who knows, maybe I'll be married. Kushina and Minato looked ready to cry. Be safe, okay kiddo? Alright Mom, Dad, I'll try. I've always imagined meeting you guys in person, and now that I have, I want to learn more about you guys. I'll see you guys in 50,000 years. Naruto channeled chakra back through the seal and ended up back in the destroyed world. Taking off, Naruto vowed to survive to see his parents again. After a few months of searching, They found a suitable planet near the Piraeus Veil and one on the other side of the system on the planet Eden Prina 3. 2 more years passed, and Naruto married Javik and Arla on board the Ilos. It was a grand ceremony, and Javik and Arla got a month's leave on the resort ship in the fleet. They decided not to have children until after the war ended, and after the rebirth of the Protheans. A week ago, Naruto put his entire fleet into cryo on the now named planet Selos, near the Piraeus Veil, and left for Ilos. He received word that the bunker Eden Prina had been attacked, and that Javik was the only survivor. Then, Selos's I had a malfunction and deactivated, meaning that it had to be opened and activated manually. Naruto would have gone back, but the fighter he was in was a one-way trip to Ilos. Javik had been given the coordinates for where he would be, he just had to hope that someone would wake him up. And flashback. Naruto made his way into his sealing chamber. It was the center of the building, located midway between the building's top and bottom. Naruto had refurbished it using his fighter, so it looked nearly identical to the old Prothean council room. In the center of the room was Planty. "Are you sure you want to do this?" She communicated telepathically. "I am. It's not like I have much of a choice in the matter though. I just hope that someone wakes Javik up. I'd hate to be sealed here forever." "Well, it won't be that bad. At least you'll have me, Kara, and your father to keep you company." "Yeah, I guess you're right, but either way I'll be here for a while." "Well, see you inside." He sat down on a seat lined with seals which he activated with a Kai, and went into a deep meditative state, waiting to wake up. 50,000 years later, location, Eden Prime. "I think he's waking up." Javik opens his eyes and yes, his muscles, accidentally sending a biotic attack at the species surrounding him. "Oh, what hit me? Oh, sorry about that." The Aseri waves to him and says, "We can't understand you." He grabs the human NET to him. She's female, short red hair, pretty face, or at least by human standards. He absorbs her memories, and she sees some of his. Oddly enough, there's a human male with golden blonde hair and cerulean blue eyes. His cheeks had 3 black marks, like whiskers, on each. He had a well-defined SI pack that was easily seen through the robes he was wearing. In his hands was a hat that was obviously made for him with an odd symbol in the middle. Around his waist was a holster for a pistol. "Javik, I'm putting you in command of the second bunker. The majority of that bunker will be civilians. The fleet and your wife will be on Selos." "But Admiral, look, I don't want to do this. But you're the only one I can trust with the bunker. I'll keep your wife safe. You also have the coordinates for my personal stasis area, correct?" "Yes, sir." The man nodded and said, "Be safe, Javik. You too, Naruto." As Javik let go of her, her companions, a Turian and the Aseri, raised their weapons. "At ease, people," the now identified Amanda Shepard said. "Sorry for attacking you like that," Javik said in a thick Jamaican accent, "but I needed to stretch and learn your language." "So that's what you were doing when you touched me?" "Yeah, I would have warned you, but you wouldn't have understood." "It's alright. Do you know where you are?" "Eden Prime by your language, Eden Prima by mine." Javik turned toward the other two and said, "Aseri, Turian, human, this cycle is ruled by primitives." "Yeah, the humans rule alongside the Turians, Aseri, Solarians, and others. We are all in a council that rules together." "So it is as Naruto guessed then, the Solarians evolved?" "When we knew them, they used to eat flies." "They're amphibians," the Aseri said. "Well, obviously, things have changed since our cycle. You Aseri couldn't write at all, and could only count up to their fingers and toes. But regardless, there's someone we need to find." "Who's that?" "We need to find Naruto Uzumaki, former prince of the Prothean Empire, and Grand Admiral of the Grand Navy."